So, I started recording. Welcome again, and we will start with our next presentation. Our next presentation is titled With Steam into the Future, How Life and Work is Better with German. Our next presenter presenting this topic is Filina Wittke, and she is joining us from Blacksburg. She's currently the director of the TU Darmstadt North America office at the Virginia Tech campus in Blacksburg. She has worked in South Africa as the director of the DAAD Information Center. Besides the administrative tasks in the field of international higher education, she has been teaching German as a foreign language for 13 years. So I would like to hand over, Frau Wittke, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the introduction. It's a great honor and a pleasure to be here, and I hope everything works out. I apologize for the camera. Yeah, that's a lot better. No, I'm not that big on the screen. Yeah, welcome everyone. I'm very excited to be here, as I said, and I will speak for the next 20 minutes on why foreign language learning will make your lives better, obviously, especially German. And I'll be speaking about why I think you should add the A of arts to STEM. So foreign language learning makes especially sense in my view, and I'm happy to share that in the next 20 minutes when you're interested in the STEM fields. Let me try this. Okay, good. I strongly believe that learning a foreign language in general and learning German in particular is crucial for a successful career and a happy life. I believe that in an increasingly integrated global business community, it is most important to build meaningful relationships, and I'll say that a few more times throughout the presentation, with colleagues, with coworkers, or with customers, and most of the time in our everyday life, we are one of the three. Language is the foundation of building these relationships, and that's why foreign language learning is most crucial for your work life as well as your private life. So my first take-home message for the day is, in today's world, proficiency in other languages is a vital skill that gives you the opportunity to engage with people in a more immediate and meaningful way. So when you look online or wherever you want to look why learning a foreign language is a good idea and why German is your best choice, you find lists and a lot of studies. The American Council on Teaching a Foreign Language, for example, lists 10 benefits of foreign language learning. Auburn University in Alabama has 25 reasons. So I went through a lot of those lists and compiled a best of, and I sparked all those facts with some experiences of my professional life to make the facts maybe a little more relatable. So what I'm going to do now is I will present to you the top 5 reasons to learn a foreign language and the top 3 reasons to learn German. Let's go. The first one is connect. Language is what researchers call the species-defining characteristic. That means language is what makes us human. But also different languages have different ways of organizing the world. Today, there are about 7,000 spoken languages in the world. That's 7,000 ways to organize the world. 7,000 languages, though, in 195 countries. That means most of the people living in today's world already use at least more than one language. More than one language, I'm told to. That's better. Is that better in terms of how loud I speak? That means most of the people in today's world already use more than one language in everyday communication. So if you don't speak a foreign language already, you're lacking behind the majority of the 7.5 billion people, and you better catch up because the benefits are undeniable. Very many famous people have dealt with that issue already. Here are just 2 examples, and I will start with 2 quotes that you probably all know very well. The first one is, die Grenzen meiner Sprache sind die Grenzen meiner Welt. The limits of my language are the limits of my world. And the second one, du hast so viele Leben, wie du Sprachen sprichst. You have as many lives as the number of languages you speak. What does that mean? It means certain languages make speakers pay attention to certain features in the world. You might have heard that Russian speakers are quicker to determine shades of blue, and you might know that Japanese speakers tend to organize objects by material rather than shape. And you will probably know that German has the ability to combine words or nouns, in this case, in weird and wonderful ways. Here are some of my favorite German words: Schnapsidee, Glückspilz, Naschkatze, Pantoffelheld, and Kummerspeck. At Lancaster University, they research language a little further, so they go beyond learning words. They want to research what they call the gravity of language on thought. That means they research how much language, the language you speak, determines your thought and therefore your behavior. So, for example, they did a study on how much the language that you speak determines how much money you save. And this was quoted in the Business Insider of 2015, and I deliberately took this article instead of the original study to show you this is not research that ends up in some drawer in some research cabin, but it's relevant in the world, and it's most relevant obviously in the business context. So what they did is they found out that, for example, Germans are here. Is this okay? Yeah, this will work. Germans save more money than people in the United States, and I don't know, something, South Koreans save more money than Germans, for example. So what does that mean, or why do they do that? And what they found is that these languages have different features. They make a difference between the present and the future. For example, some people say, I eat pizza with my friends, and I will eat pizza with my friends. Right? So there's a linguistic difference, we say, between eat and will eat. People that speak these kinds of languages, like English, feel that those two situations are very far apart. They perceive the linguistic barrier between eat and will eat as a real barrier. That means for speakers of those kinds of languages, the future is very far away. That means they don't feel the need to prepare for the future now. Other languages say, I eat pizza with my friends today, or I eat pizza with my friends tomorrow. And you feel the difference? The distance between these two sentences is a lot smaller, so people feel the future is a lot closer, so they feel the need to prepare for the future now. Isn't that crazy? I find that very interesting. So this seemingly small difference between the eat and will eat, or between the today and tomorrow, does not only have an effect on how much money you have in your account, it actually goes a lot further. People that feel a smaller difference between the present and the future smoke less, eat healthier, and make more family-conscious decisions. So the take-home lesson is, learning German makes you richer and healthier. That's great, because normally people only think of foreign language learning being an asset for travel and work, and I obviously get to that in a minute, but the payoff is bigger than we ever imagined. Speaking a foreign language allows you to see the world differently. It allows you to anticipate how other people are going to behave, which is an advantage, obviously. And it allows you to understand your own culture a lot better, because all of a sudden you have a means of comparison, and you can understand what you're doing in opposition to other people. And that's an incredible enrichment in the worldview altogether. One of the professors from Lancaster University said, you can listen to music from only one speaker, or you can listen in stereo. It's the same with language. All right, number 2, make money, advance your career. I'm sure that most of you know those numbers, but I'm very happy to repeat them over and over again. Language skills are a significant competitive advantage that sets you apart from your monolingual peers. Language skills are actually among the top 8 skills required of all occupations, no matter the sector or the skills level. Between 2010 and 2015, the number of job postings specifically geared towards bilingual candidates have more than doubled. Because employers are seeking professionals who can communicate seamlessly with customers in new and expanding markets. That's the overseas perspective. But also at home. 60 million US residents speak a language other than English at home. That's 18% of the US population, and the number is obviously growing. So in the US, speaking a foreign language is actually something that will set you apart from your peers. And the rest of the world, as we have heard earlier, that's the norm. So in many instances, language skills lead to hiring bonuses and increased salaries. A British study has shown a salary uplift of up to 20%. And again, a different study has shown that over a lifespan of your career, German is the language that earns you the most money. You can see, I think in the orange line, you can see that in general, foreign language learning always like increases your salary, but the green line is the German one, and the benefit there is the most. The gain is the most. Why? Because German is a very important language of global economics, but not a lot of people speak it in comparison to the importance it has. So any hiring manager in any company in the world will tell you that the ability to speak a foreign language is a prized commodity. And I can attest to that. Almost a year ago, I went to the so-called IEP colloquium. That is the International Engineering Program colloquium. So that's a conference where researchers from the US discuss the field of engineering plus language. So they basically discuss STEAM. I took the opportunity to speak to a few representatives from the industry because working at a university, I don't get the opportunity too often. And I wanted to know if all of this is a lie, if I'm lying to my students when I'm saying the HR managers want to see language skills on the CVs. But it turned out to be the truth. One of the managers said, when I walk into the room with all new employees, I can tell before anyone opens their mouths who studied abroad, who speaks a foreign language, and who doesn't. Because those people who have studied abroad and speak a foreign language just sit differently in their chairs. They're more self-confident, more focused, and more relaxed. Because foreign language learning gives you a lot of confidence. It might not seem or feel that way where you are right now, and I know that we've all felt incredibly stupid learning a foreign language, but that's the ultimate gain. Yeah. When I was still in Germany, I was teaching German at Max Planck Institute. Max Planck Institute is a network of research centers, if you want. So those people are highly ranked scientists in their field. They're amazing at what they're doing, and they're surely super smart. But in the beginning of these classes, those people were like highly frustrated. They said, Selina, I feel so stupid. I can program cell cultures that survive on Mars, and now I can't even speak in complex sentences anymore, right? Ich heiße Michael, ich komme aus den USA, ich spreche Englisch. Und du? I sound like a 2-year-old. That's not good for my ego. I'll quit. But Michael didn't quit. He pushed through, and he was amazed himself what learning German did to him, to the growth or to the development of his personality, but also for his research, by the way. So learning a foreign language means putting yourself out there, moving out of your comfort zone, and that's what boosts your confidence in the end, and that's obviously what the employers see or want to see with these foreign language skills. So, take-home lesson, learning to communicate fluently in multiple languages provides additional job security and advancement opportunities in uncertain economic times. Reason number 3, be smart, get smarter. Feed your brain. People who speak more than one language have all these benefits. They have improved memory, improved problem-solving skills, enhanced concentration, enhanced ability to multitask, better listening skills, greater flexibility, and greater creativity. And you can imagine that all those skills are clearly in the top 8 skills required in all occupations. So if you speak at least one foreign language, you will remember things better. Obviously, the more languages you speak, the easier it gets, right? So I think 7 is the magic number. So one of my students at the moment in my class speaks 5. He speaks Chinese, Russian, Danish, Spanish, and English. And whenever I explain something, he just says, oh, that's like in Spanish, or that's like in Russian. So he doesn't have to learn new systems all the time. He can just combine what he knows already. And that's clearly a big advantage. But I wanted to get somewhere else. If you speak at least one foreign language, memory loss will occur on average 5 years later than for people that only speak one language. That's something to consider for later. But for now, students who have studied foreign languages for 4 years or more outperform their classmates in every subject. So they don't only get better in humanities or history or social sciences, they also get better in mathematics, science, engineering, because the brain is trained in a very different way, in a more holistic way, and that makes them outperform the classmates in all the subjects. Also, the more languages you speak, the better your communication skills become in English. that might be counterintuitive, but because you broaden the perception of the world and you also improve your vocabulary and your communication skills in English. That's probably something that HR managers are not even aware of, but that they're clearly very happy to benefit from. And lastly, in this number 3 aspect, I find that a bit crazy, but it's also very interesting. Studies have shown that decision making in your second language differs from that in your native language. Doesn't sound spectacular? Let me give you an example. Researchers say that decisions in your first language are most often made fast, unconsciously, and emotionally. And decisions in your second language are made systematically, analytically, and rule-governed. What implication does that have? I'm sure we have all fears of something. Fear of flying, fear of spiders, fear of needles, whatever. Choose whatever you're afraid of. Think about that fear in German. Go over all the rational arguments why flying is the safest mode of transport, how unlikely it is that something will happen, and how quickly you will reach your destination, in opposition maybe to taking the car or a train or something else. It'll work. It worked for me. I can attest to that. You'll be less afraid because your brain will be able to focus on the analytical aspect of the fear in your second language rather than the emotional aspect of it in your first language. So isn't that cool? Learning language will improve your marks overall in all the subjects. It'll make you less likely to get Alzheimer's and less afraid of flying. So being all fearless and rich, why don't you conquer the world? Reason number 4, see the world, feel the world. Travelers who know more than one language are more easily able to navigate outside the tourist bubble and to connect to places and its people in a meaningful way, immediately, basically. Many English speakers seem to think that they'll get around the world only by speaking English, and if someone doesn't understand what they are telling them, they just speak louder and more slowly, maybe. But speaking the language of the country you're visiting makes your travel cheaper, safer, and more enjoyable. Cheaper, obviously, because you're not charged the tourist prices, but the local prices. Safer, because you understand all the signs and you understand the people around you. And more enjoyable, because you don't have to eat all the food that you might not like. But, my favorite quote on that is by Nelson Mandela. He said, "If you speak to a person in a language they understand, you speak to their head. If you speak to them in their language, you speak to their hearts. And obviously the hearts then open and you can really connect with the people. Because language is the foundation of building meaningful relationships, as I've said a few times. And that gets me to the last point here, be loved. 270 British dating agencies agree that people who speak a foreign language are more attractive. 63% of people have already dated someone that speaks a foreign language. So, did you ever imagine that speaking German makes you more attractive? And if that is unexpected, maybe that's a good reason to start learning German. But what are other reasons to start learning German or continue learning German if you know German already? Number 1 is German is a beautiful language of arts. We've seen a few examples already how German can combine words. Here are some more. Fernweh, Hüftgold, Kopfkino, and Luftschloss. And obviously, if you combine nouns, that's very good for your imagination, right? You can see the pictures of those combined nouns that at first sight doesn't make a lot of sense, but then opens up a whole new dimension to words and concepts. But German also has another fun feature that works very well in this poem, and I will only read the English version of it. It goes like this. It's the Fir Tree by Heine. You might know that. A single fir tree lonely on a northern mountain height sleeps in a white blanket draped in snow and ice. His dreams are of a palm tree who, far in eastern land, weeps all alone and silent among the burning sands. In English, that sounds a bit lunatic, I admit. What's wrong with these German trees? There. But the hidden beauty of it is that in German the fir tree is masculine and the palm tree is feminine. So what we witness here is actually a hot, longing, passionate, unfulfilled, long-distance love affair of a masculine character who dreams of a lonely female who can warm his heart. Still sound crazy? Maybe you want to learn German to discover how romantic and how beautiful it actually is. I actually think this is an intercultural love affair, obviously, because those trees are rooted in different grounds, and the sand, which is not a translation of the German, and the cold, German snow and ice world. But anyways, this poem works well because German has three genders, and that allows us to personify objects, and that's obviously beautiful in the arts, but it also works very well in science. So contrary to popular belief, the German language is very systematic, very logic, and very analytical. And the three articles, as well as declination and conjugation, are the best part of it. German allows to make relations of words and references very clear. And here's an example. The glass fell from the table into the bowl. It broke. So the Germans will be like, what broke the table? So the glass fell, or the glass fell because it broke because it fell, or the bowl broke because the glass fell into it. In German, we can make that reference very clear. Das Glas fiel vom Tisch in die Schale, zerbrach, sie zerbrach. Es zerbrach, depending on what pronoun you use, you can reference what element broke in this example. And that's why my Max Planck scientists loved the language after they had gotten a hang of it. German makes a lot of sense, is flexible and precise, and beautiful at the same time. And that's why I think it makes it the perfect language of STEAM, that is like STEM plus the arts. And I'll tell you one more example. When I was in Germany, I had the pleasure of working for HP, a printing company, and a Brazilian lady came to me, and she was speaking perfect German, but she said, Belina, I want to leave this country. I'm never going to learn the language. When I present to our clients, they never understand what I'm saying. Well, I didn't understand what she was talking about because her German was perfect. So I made her hold a presentation, and she started with the sentence, our latest product has the new feature of XYZ. I laughed and said, okay, your problem is not the language, it's the structure. Because German minds are so used to clear references, you need to start with an overview and reference back to that, otherwise the Germans are lost. And after some training, she said, oh my God, that makes so much sense. In the German language, you always have to lay out everything very clearly and then connect it properly. The verbs, the nouns, the sentences. No wonder you have to do the same thing in a presentation. And I couldn't have said it more beautifully. I think the German language is very transparent and allows to be very complex at the same time. And that's why scientists love it. And the last reason is German is a fruitful language for business and money. Among the top 10 most innovative economies, according to the Bloomberg Innovation Index of 2019 that you can see there, Germany ranks second. This is the ranking. The US is the number 8. Why is that relevant? In the 21st century, innovation has become the heart and soul of economic policy. Innovation is complex. Many factors play a role in the ideation, development, and commercialization of a new technology. And the focus of an economy that prioritizes innovation does not only allocate money to certain people, it's discovering new methods, new modules, new products that create a better quality of life for society. And that we can only do together, for example, in the transatlantic relationships. And you surely want to be part of it, or you want to make sure you can be a part of it. And lastly, I'm very sure there's at least 360 more reasons to learn German. We've been celebrating the German-American Year of Friendship for more than a year already. We've discovered what united us in the past. We've discovered what unites us today, and probably also what unites us in the future. Intentionally no will there, because there's no border to the future. So language, as I said in the beginning, is the foundation of any meaningful relationship. So my recommendation is continue if you have started learning German already, or start if you haven't, because learning a foreign language, German in particular, makes you richer, smarter, healthier, and happier. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Felina. That was very interesting. Unfortunately, I already speak German. Otherwise, I would have started right now. And there are so many benefits. It's very. I mean, I'm a German teacher myself, and so I keep promoting the language every day. And I think it's a great language to learn. And I was so surprised when I came to the US. And so many people I saw, or every day I'm seeing so many people, they want to learn German, and we get more and more students. And in the beginning, I was really surprised because I wasn't aware of this fact here in the US. But you really highlighted all the pros, not only to learn German, but in general to learn a German. But yeah, why German? So everyone is learning French and Spanish, and I think German is a little bit more special, and it gives you many, many benefits. And so if for all our listeners, if you have any questions, please type it into the chat window, and I'm happy to ask Felina. You can also find her information in the on our website. You find all the information about our presenters and her email address, and you could contact her with all, maybe when there is a special question regarding the TU Darmstadt or maybe the language programs. And yeah, I would also like to mention again that we have this feedback survey. You find it in the box in the right corner below. We would really appreciate if you could give us feedback. And these sessions, they will be recorded, and you also find the link to our YouTube channel in the box below, so you can watch it again or share it with your students when they didn't have a chance today. And so there is no question so far, because I think that was very informative. Maybe do you have a typical Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I can just make one last remark then, because I work at a university. I don't know how it is in the high school system too much, but sometimes academic advisors, especially in engineering, say our students don't have time for that. They don't have time for language. That's a waste of their time. They have to focus on engineering. And I understand where they're coming from. I know that the schedules of the mechanical engineering students are very, very full, right? But I would say that's the wrong approach, because firstly, as I mentioned, learning a language, in addition to studying engineering, broadens your mind and it will improve your marks overall. So take the time. I'm teaching an evening class now with mostly engineering students, and they benefit from it. I promise you now already. And secondly, I would add to that a reply from the industry again. They said, well, everyone can have an A in algebra, especially in the US. So you have to tell me why I'm hiring you, why I should be hiring you, what do you bring to the table? And if you then can list all the benefits of foreign language learning, especially learning German, this investment of, I don't know, one language class a semester is a very good benefit, and it will fit into your schedule if you make it work. And I don't want to say that academic advisors are wrong, but I think they're seeing it more from an engineering point of view and not the holistic view of where you're going to be in the industry. So please consider.
Yeah, I think like engineering is more an analytical and a topic which where you have to sit down and really learn the materials and the content. And language learning, I think, is a little bit different. You can combine it really good with your free time activities. You can look out for a tandem partner and then meet once a week for half an hour where you try to talk in the second language. Or there are many online programs where you can learn while going to school or while going to work. So I think language learning is more a thing which you could combine, or you can listen to a German learning podcast on your way to work. So it's not like, okay, I have to sit down 2 hours at home and read a book and learn all the grammar. They're more like you can combine it with fun activities. Yeah. And we have a question. So cool. So if I can, how is computer science in Germany? Can you answer this?
Well, my question would be like, what do you mean by how? I mean, you can study computer science in Germany, yes, and obviously I know I know best how computer science work in Darmstadt. It I know that it is organized differently, how do I say that? Computer science can can be different aspects, right? It can have a focus on communication. It can have a focus on engineering. It can have a focus on programming. An advantage of computer science is that I think at least that's the Darmstadt approach. It has the language is English there. Yeah, computer science can be studied in Germany, and the quality is very high. Darmstadt offers computer science, and it's a very international degree. Very many of our students, international students, full-time degree students, are enrolled in computer science. The universal language there is English, so that makes it easy to get into it. I would still always recommend to learn German because the life in Germany obviously happens in German. So to not be dependent on your degree and the community and the university, but to dive into the German culture, I still recommend to learn English.
So very good. So you're good to go. Okay. And there were many other presentations about how to apply and how to prepare for studying in Germany. So you can, Misha, you can check our YouTube channel. We had a presentation from the Study Bridge program, for example, which prepares you for studying in Germany. And we had also a presentation from the University in Cologne and the TU Darmstadt as well. And maybe there you find helpful links and information. Okay, so yeah.
Otherwise, just get in touch with me directly. I'm happy to, if you write me an email or we can set up a call or something like that.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm very happy to attend to your questions.
Okay, thank you so much, Felina. That was very informative. That was very helpful, I hope, for everyone. So bye, have a great day, and we will head to our next presentation. Thank you very much.